Alright guys, we're trying this for a little while. Shabbat just ended. So Shavua Tov. Let's see if we can find some good dialogue for you guys starting this new week. And while this house gets packed, I'm going to be doing some work at the same time. 2 hours, 1 hour. That's what we don't want. It's that one. I really don't want that one. All right, guys. Sometimes, TikTok gets stuck. I always start my videos complaining about something not working right in TikTok. Guys, if you like the show, I know it's kind of early, like the show. I think the more you like it, like TikTok shares it more. And then we could get a lot of people in here. So like. All right. Yeah, like the video. Hi, Layla. All right, we're getting up there. Like more. And it went down again. It went up and went down. All right, guys. Same topic, nothing new, which is every topic under the sun. This is just sort of a placeholder. This is to pique your interest. Yes, this is a glimpse of some of the stuff you'll get on this channel. This is about Judaism. It's about promoting Judaism. 1 second. Don't mind me. I'm trying to do 2 things at once here. I typically take these and I upload them onto YouTube. That's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm backed up. I haven't uploaded my last 2. So I'm back in Miami right now, or Fort Lauderdale, but I'm heading out to DC again. Yeah, it's a whole thing, I guess. If you guys want to know what's going on, type in my name on Twitter, and you'll see what's going on. Okay. Welcome, Imus. Okay, I can throw at you Christian doctrine. All right. Yeah, if you have questions, go for it. Do I believe Jesus is the Messiah? No, I do not. No, I do not. Do I like the notion of Jesus? Yeah, I think he was a good guy. Okay, a man goes to his rabbi and says, excuse me. So I guess it's a joke. A man goes to his rabbi and says, I'm terrified of dying. I want to live forever. What should I do? Okay, what's the punchline? The rabbi says, it's simple. All you need to do is to get married. Okay, okay. Yeah. My humor's been tainted by television. My humor is very dark. Are you upset that they voted to ban the TikTok app next Wednesday? Or is it whatever to you? Did they vote? No. Get the heck out of here. Did they vote to ban TikTok? Well, that sucks. Yeah. Did they vote? No. I don't think they voted, right? I think... But hold on. I'm going to have to Google this. Is TikTok being banned? It shows what I know. Let's see when they go. For now, TikTok ban will still be premature. The Biden administration has threatened to ban unless TikTok has already been banned and there are forms throughout the year. The app was banned. I don't think it says that it was banned. I think it says they're still talking about it. Yeah, don't forget, it tried to be... Well, they were trying to ban it under Trump, and then a court stopped it or something. So even though if they vote on it, it still has to go through the courts somehow. Yeah, it doesn't say that it is banned yet. So I was in India a month ago or something. So in India, it's banned, right? Although it still works because, I mean, my TikTok worked in India. I was uploading all my videos. So when they ban it, it means that if you still have it on your phone, it still works. I'm not sure how it works after an update, but it might still work after the update as well. So it just means that new people couldn't get it. And it really would only limit iPhone users, because Android you can install whatever. You can install the APKs directly from the web. So that's not an issue. So it's only for iPhone, and you could get it on the web. So only because it's somewhat banned doesn't mean that you guys won't be able to tune in. Just you'll be able to tune in on the web. Yeah, so there you go. Judaism is better compared to what? Compared to its offshoots, Islam and Christianity, and the other ones as well. But I'm not equipped to dialogue with a Hindu. I guess maybe if I knew more about their belief system, I could at least dialogue from a logical perspective. But I know enough to know that, I mean, heck, Hindu gods aren't so... they weren't meant to be emulated by people. Let's just put it like that. All right. How old is the West Bank? By that term, the West Bank of the Jordan, I don't know. Have you searched Islam? I know enough about Islam. I know enough about Islam. I've looked into it in terms of like, I know enough about it to know that it's not for me. Okay, then why say if it's not equipped? If what's not equipped? I don't know what it means. I'm Jewish and I don't care for Reform Judaism anymore. Okay, so consider it Orthodox. What makes it better than Christianity? Judaism has flaws. The truth is, all these belief systems have flaws. So some have less flaws than others. Did you ever go to a mosque? Yes, I did, actually. I visited a mosque twice. I'll tell you how I visited it. In Virginia, there was an interfaith conference, rabbis, pastors, and imams. And one of these events was it occurred in a mosque. Yeah. Oh, in Israel. I mean, I've visited. Okay. Yeah, Reform Judaism has flaws. Right. Now, all beliefs, for sure, Reform has flaws, but they embrace their flaws. The whole Reform movement is a flaw, meaning they know that it's not up to standard, up to Talmudic or biblical standards, but that's their whole shtick. That it's a modern form of Judaism, that it's been modified to fit our modern age. Okay, Judaism does not proselytize. Actually, in terms of source material, I would say Judaism does proselytize. In terms of what's done today, yes, Jews don't do it today, but there's nothing in Jewish law that prohibits it. And I'm sorry that I have to bore you guys who are used to attending these lives, hear me say the same thing over and over again, but you must be surprised how the same Jews say the same thing over and over. It's like, oh my gosh. And we've been doing this long enough, especially here on TikTok, to know that no Jew has come up here actually proving that Jews don't proselytize. So elaborate on what? What do you think are the flaws in Christianity? Oh my gosh. Okay, is Andrea Karshan squared? What do you mean? Andrea Karshan, whatever her name happens to be, is nutty. I think she's nutty. I think, and she acknowledges it, that she has a form of like schizophrenia or something like that. Judaism doesn't proselytize because they're so racist. They don't want to. Okay, fine. J.A. Rule is Jewish. Free Palestine. Which rappers talk about Judaism? Which rappers talk about Judaism? I don't know. What, Nissan Black? Whatever. No, Jews don't say the same as you on here. Please specify. I don't know what you're talking about. Would I have to get surgery if I became Jewish? If you're not circumcised, yeah. I guess a part of your body would have to be cut off. How are you doing, brother? I'm doing good. How do you pronounce the YHWH? I don't know. No one knows for sure. What is the process of converting? There's 3 steps to converting if you're a male. Circumcision, Mila, Tevila, Korban. Mila is circumcision, Tevila is immersion, and Korban is a sacrifice when there's another temple built. If you're a woman, you don't need to circumcise yourself. Do you have to get beaten? By what? Beaten as... imagine that, huh? Like a religion that jumps you in. Almost like a gang. No, you don't have to get jumped into Judaism. I see Tor claims about history, or I don't even know. I guess these bots are not using Chat GPT. Abraham was a Muslim. Abraham was a Muslim as much as Muhammad was a Christian. I will take my shahada. Okay, it's up to you. Are you against the Palestinians? Am I against the Palestinians? That's an interesting question. I prefer Israel be under the hands of Israelis than of Palestinians. And me being Jewish has nothing to do with it. If I was a Christian, I would feel the same way. As a matter of fact, the vast majority of Christians in Palestine are somewhat glad that Israel's in charge, because they have the highest standard of living than any Arab of the region. I thought this was a serious discussion, but instead I see you do not know Judaism. Okay, all right. Well, let's see how many followers you have. Oh, you have one follower. Okay, so get 900, or 999 more followers, and then you could come on here and expose my stupidity. I've been justified by the word of the Lamb. Okay, what does that mean? I do not know. I hope you had a blessed Shabbat. Yeah, it was all right. It was all right. Mostly, but no, I actually go for a bike ride on Shabbat. I used to ride bike to my synagogue, and now, according to Halacha, there's nothing wrong with riding a bike to shul. There's a famous what's his name, the Ben Ish Chai. That's I guess the leader of the Sephardi world before Rabbi Yosef has a whole teshuvah on it that you could ride a bike to shul. Of course, I asked the rabbi of the shul. I'm like, hey, you mind if I ride a bike here? And he's like, no. He said that his Rebbe in wherever he was from, Golders Green, I'm not sure where he was from, like, rode a bike to shul. So that's my bike riding day. I have my special bike shop, my Shabbos bike. So Christianity for everyone, I think he's the one who says I'm ignorant of Judaism, says Christianity is far better than Judaism when practiced right. Who stole Palestinian land? I don't know. Okay, more. This show is not about politics, by the way. It doesn't interest me. There's enough shows on that. I would say that the average Jew, that's what they're qualified to speak about. I don't think the average Jew is qualified to speak about Judaism, just like I don't think the average Muslim is qualified to speak about Islam. Is the Judaism star and the satanic star the same? That's interesting. In terms of the shape, yeah. What makes you a Jew? You either have to have a Jewish mother or a conversion. I converted to Judaism 24 years ago. Let's see. They rejected the Torah and Christianity. Yeah, that's one thing that makes it flawed. Palestinianism is a term not found in Torah geographical area, made up. That's actually not true, by the way. What's the term that appears in the Torah? Is it... I have a whole video on this. I think it's Philistia. Is it Philistia? There is a portion of Israel known as Palestine. Not by that English term, but that's not what the Romans call it anyways. I think the Romans call it Philistia, and it's not Israel as we know today. There's parts of it. For example, parts of, let's say, Tel Aviv was part of the land of the Philistines. Who controls Wall Street? Y'all have Zionists who've infiltrated your name. You don't need the title to know. Okay, fine. I don't know. Before you drank? What's that? I don't... What did you just say under your breath? Oh, I said the blessing before you drink water in Judaism. How did you become a rabbi? I got what's called smicha. I got ordained. I went to seminary, i.e. yeshiva, years ago. No. You were reading what I wrote. I don't know what. People can't convert. Guys, throw your biggest enemies on here. Let's dialogue. Let's make this fun. I guess I've become more of an entertainer than anything. But I will bite the bullet to educate my students here, or whoever's attending. You don't have to identify as my student. Yeah, I want to learn also. Heck, I learn more from you guys. I learn more from having dialogues than just reading things online. And that being said, I've learned more online than what I learned in religious school. I think people, honest people, come to that conclusion unless you're just going to the wrong websites. All right, guest of the night.
What's up, man?
Welcome. What's up? Welcome, NGB Swift 5. Hi.
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm okay. So I just wanted to come on here and ask, why do you think Judaism is better?
Better than Christianity and Islam. So, I believe Christianity and Islam are offshoots of Judaism. Do you agree?
Well, yeah, because Jesus was Jewish. Jesus
Right.
was the king of the Jews. But
Correct.
now
Correct.
that's coming from someone who's neither Christian, Jewish, nor Muslim. I'm actually a Norse pagan.
Okay. All right. So you're just this is just an inquiry on possibly what's the more preferable of the three major monotheistic religions. Okay, fine. So being that Christianity and Islam are essentially offshoots of Judaism, when someone is deciding what religion is for them, it behooves them to at least start with which one's older. This is not why I believe Judaism is better. Just chronologically, that's where you should start, right? The average Christian who's educating someone to become Christian typically tells them to start in the book of John, or first they try to indoctrinate them with Christian doctrine, and then they want them to look at what came before it with Christian lenses. Islam does the same thing, right? I mean, somebody comes to Islam, the Muslim doesn't tell the person to start with the Torah or start with the New Testament. They'll say they have to first familiarize themselves with Islamic doctrines and then to view Christian and Jewish texts via Islamic lenses. So what people overlook in this scenario is that our Bible tells us in two places that we can add or take away from it, right? That this is the last revelation that God's ever going to give humanity. And the same statement appears in the New Testament, and it also appears in the Quran, right? Almost as a safety net, because they already knew that someone was going to pop up saying that I got a more updated revelation, right? This is proper religion 2.0. The thing is, the ethical portions, not narrative, that appear in Islam and Christianity were appropriated from Judaism. The only thing Islam and Christianity really brought to the mix was narrative and metaphysics, right? God did
Mm-hmm.
this revelation came down, whatever. Jesus died for your sins. Muhammad received a message in a mountain. But in terms of ethics, the individual moral training, that only appears in the Jewish Bible. Yes, there's a lot of ethical statements that appear in the New Testament and the Quran, but they're just recycled from the Jewish Bible. That's what makes our Bible special, and that is essentially what made ethical monotheism from a Judaic perspective popular.
Mm-hmm.
So on that basis alone, I think that covers the whole all bases there. In terms of ethics, why are you just going to go with these new religions that only brought narrative and metaphysics, right? There
Mm-hmm.
is narrative and there's metaphysical ideas in the Torah also, but the Torah also has one component that the other ones don't, in some way fabricated, and that is ethics. Torah, in this case, from Mount Sinai.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a little more, but tell me if you're following so far.
I'm following, yeah.
So I believe Islam is an ethical belief system for the most part, and I feel the same way about Christianity. Now, I don't walk around trying to prove to a Norse pagan or someone who doesn't believe in the Bible that the Bible's perfect or that Judaism's perfect. Because I always try to explain what I believe from the perspective of someone who doesn't believe, just so we can, in some way, just use logic to validate these ideas. So yes, from that perspective, there are many parts of the Torah that I do not understand that I really wish would have been worded differently. But I think in life, the choice is not between what's perfect and what's horrific, but between what's good and what's better. So in this case, by that criteria, I think it benefits people to live a life according to this ethical standard, then at least remain an atheist.
Okay.
Yeah. But I
So
don't know much about your belief system, though. So I can't speak. I can't say Judaism is better than being a Norse pagan because I just don't know. I mean, I saw Vikings, right? And I know.
yeah.
I mean, the whole notion of like Valhalla sounds pretty cool, and I think that it's a very masculine religion, which I do appreciate. I mean, I strive to be a masculine individual, and I like that. I like that. But that's the bulk of what I know about it.
Well, see, because like the whole notion is the Vikings wanted to ascend to Valhalla because Valhalla is the Hall of Warriors. But there's tons of different halls because there's 9 different realms. So, for example, you have Asgard, which is the land of the Aesir. That's where the All Father, who is like the highest god, Odin, he is the ruler of Valhalla and the ruler of Asgard. Then you have Vanheim, which is where the Vanir live. You have Alfheim, which is where the land of the elves and stuff like that. There's 9 different realms. I can't recite all of them, but the ones that I know, you got Asgard, Vanheim, Niflheim, which is the land of the dead, Helheim, Alfheim, um,
So these are all
Niflheim.
places in the afterlife.
Yes, so these are all different places that you can go based on how you based on how your life was lived. So if you lived a more peaceful life where you were a farmer and stuff like that, you'll ascend to a different plane.
Hmm.
So there's a notion that everyone thinks that like the Vikings were all these savage murderers and they just pillaged and this and that. Viking was a occupation. The term Viking is actually an occupation,
Okay.
and it meant to sail, to raid, and to run.
Oh.
So
Well, so it's a title that you had to earn.
it's not a title that you have to earn. It's more or less if you were a raider, if you were a guy that was getting on the longboats and going to sailing west or sailing east like they originally did, then you were known as you were still a Northman, as they were called. You were still a Dane or a Scandinavian,
Hmm.
but in reality, the term Viking you got by being a raider.
Is there an ethical code or a book that lays down ethics in that religion?
There's multiple different books that you can get. You have books like the Prose Edda, the Poetic Edda, the Havamal, which is the Word of Odin. Um, there's tons of other books. Some of them, sadly, are written by, um, what is it? I'm trying to think of a proper term. Um, what is it? We'll say WSs. People that
Uh,
don't like other people.
I got it. I got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And like there are certain books that are there that are actually written by people that are of that belief because there are people which are called Odinists who
Yeah, but
believe
is there a
that
book? Is there a book of that time, of the time of the Vikings, like some sort of text?
it would be stuff like the Havamal and the Prose and Poetic Edda.
Okay.
So stuff like
So,
that is where you'd get that from.
so that will tell you if you're in some way living substandard and not eligible to make it to Valhalla or, I mean, to having like a place in the afterlife.
Well, no. So we know where we go by how we live our life. So, for example, I'm not a warrior. I wanted to be in the military and stuff like that, but I have legal issues that are keeping me from being able to attend the military right now. But if I'm able to at another point by getting something, then I will be. Warriors, though, people who fight, people who defend and stuff like that, they will go to Valhalla because Valhalla is the land of warriors. It's the hall of the the brave and the justice. But now that's not necessarily saying that a person that doesn't go to war or anything like that, they can't join Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's up to it's up to Odin as well as up to someone like, because we have our own depiction of what's known as angels, and they're called the Valkyrie.
Valkyrie.
They help lead people to the hall that they are chosen for. They come down and help the soul.
Uh-huh.
And
Are there women in Valhalla?
yes, women. There are women in Valhalla. Women. There are women warriors that go to Valhalla if they were Viking, if they raided. So it's not just strictly men go there.
Uh-huh. Now, this is interesting. I know very little about this religion, but it's
No, it's
interesting. I
like,
enjoy the show.
yeah, like I know, like I know, being Jewish, you can't have tattoos.
Sort of, sort of. I mean, I'm working on a video on this. I've mentioned it on a few shows. It's the only prohibition in Judaism is writing the name of an idol or
Hmm.
writing God's name or the name I belong to God or I am God or something like that. That's the only prohibition as it appears in rabbinic literature. In the Torah itself, it says don't cut yourself for the dead. It refers that it has to be tied to some form of idolatry. This, yeah, so whatever. I don't think most people know this. So if you ask the average person, they'll say, no, you're not allowed to get it. Yeah.
Okay. Um. So see, that's something I actually didn't know. Um. See, my thing is when it comes to like religions and stuff like that, I've actually like I grew up. My family was Christian, so I was in a Christian household and I was raised Christian. But I always wanted to learn other religions. The sad thing is I didn't really have any friends that were like hardcore practicing Jewish. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them were Jewish in heritage, but not really by religion. And so I didn't really get a chance to like experience it. Like I had a friend whose family was Islamic, so I actually sat down with him and like joined them from prayer and stuff like that. And I wish I could have done that with Judaism when I was trying to experience other religions, because I like to learn about religions. Like I like to sit down and actually talk with people that are of that faith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, you could still convert to Judaism now. You could look into it now. How do you date as a Norseman? I mean, do you have to date or marry another Norseman? I mean, is there the institution of marriage?
Yes, we have marriage. We have like, so there's actual different kinds of ceremonies that we do inside Norse paganism. Like we're known for tying the hands together as a symbol of the marriage, but a lot of our weddings are more outdoorsy. If you follow a traditional Norse pagan wedding, it's a lot of them are outdoors, and a lot of them are like very much around the idea of being around the wilderness. Like some traditions have like animal skulls that are displayed in a certain way and stuff like that. So it all just depends on how you want your wedding to be.
Uh huh. So a Wiccan, I mean, I don't know. I mean, most Wiccans are like Wiccans are like chicks, right?
Well, there are male Wiccans
Yeah,
because
they're
the
like.
practice. So I have friends that are Wicca. I have a friend of mine that I'm actually like in the, because I'm on my game as well. I'm in the party with her. She's kind of a Wicca, and she has like senses and like she can feel things and do protection spells and stuff like that. But
Mm,
um, to be a
What
Wicca, you
what
actually
what
have to like
what
read
what
and
is a
like
Wicca? What is a Wicca, brother?
witchcraft. Basically, they follow the same thing as like me, kind of. Whereas nature is more of a comfort than anything else. Like a lot of Wiccas don't believe in the idea of modern medicine.
Mm.
They believe in like herbal nature, herbal medications.
Yeah, they mess with herbs and all that.
Yeah,
Mm.
which is just one way, and we also do like different kinds of spells. Like, so for example, like with Judaism, how do you talk to God? You pray, right? It's
Yeah.
similar to Christianity.
Yeah, brother.
Sort
But
of.
people, let me tell you something. People that mess with that know how to mess with herbs, that's from God. That's not something. That's a natural. That's a natural that you
It's
have.
unnatural.
He says it's
No, it's
natural.
natural. It's
Te suena como
natural.
un marihuanero.
Oh, no, yeah, that's why like a
No,
lot of
no,
things.
no, 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 no. I mean, God gave laws of agriculture to Moses,
No, yeah, for sure. No, some people say that the Keturah.
and there is more. What you have in the Bible is not it. There is
Yeah, but I don't
millions
follow the
upon
Bible.
millions of. No, you gotta follow the Bible, brother.
Well, no,
That's the everything.
I have a different faith. I'm not Christian. I have a different faith.
Yeah, he doesn't follow the Bible. But so where do
No,
you
no,
live?
but
Cuban.
brother. Let me tell you something. It's your duty to know the Bible. It's your duty.
Yeah, but he's
Well,
not Christian.
I don't
I mean,
follow
first you have to buy
Christianity.
into the whole system first. Like before,
I would
I
have
mean,
to be
you could.
I would have to be a practicing Christian. I don't believe in Christianity. I don't believe in Judaism or Islam either.
Yeah, what we shouldn't do is judge people outside of our religion by the standards of our religion. So, I mean, if he doesn't believe, why would you know what I mean? In terms of ethics, I think ethics is universal.
No, no, no. I say it because it's the word of the creator of this place.
No,
So
I know you
you're
believe
supposed
it,
to
but he
know
doesn't
it.
believe it.
No,
You
and
believe that.
I understand, man, and I get what you're saying. But me as a non-follower of any Abrahamic religion, I am. I don't.
I'm not talking about religion, brother. I'm talking about something else.
Coño. He belongs to a different. I mean, the word truth is a very subjective term.
Yeah.
I could say, as a person who believes in the Bible, I mean, to you, Cube, that this is the truth.
Dímelo, 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 primo, que no me has dicho ni hi, brother.
No, yo
¿Cómo está?
I'm not sure who you are. I mean,
El cubano loco de la otra vez.
¿que tú eres de Miami?
Yo era de Miami, me fui para Tampa.
Ah, va, Tampa. Bueno,
I don't.
yo hablo con
This is bullshit. I don't understand what y'all saying.
Yeah, no, we're speaking Spanish. Yeah.
I
Bueno,
failed
bueno, buenas
Spanish.
noches. Gracias por pasar.
That's bull. I
All right.
failed
So,
Spanish.
yeah. All right. So we're going to move on to like biblical topics, but thanks for stopping by, Norseman. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah. Have a good night, guys.
Okay, bro. Thank you. Bueno, que hola, Cere, que hola, Nicola, que hola, un tiburón.
Brother, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Jewish Messiah. What? I mean, surprise me with something.
Oh, okay, so you're Jewish? Like, I don't remember your religion. Are you a Christian?
No, I'm a believer of Old Testament, Matthew, John, and Revelation only.
What? So that's the New Testament, right?
That's the real thing. Yeah, that's the real thing.
Mm.
If you follow the entire Old Testament step by step, it's gonna take you to Matthew, John, and Revelation only,
Mm.
not to any other book.
So you don't believe in the book of John or Luke?
No, John, just Matthew, John, and Revelation only.
And how about Mark?
No, no Mark.
Hey, they say Mark is the oldest gospel, no?
Yeah, I don't believe that, brother.
Oh, I don't know.
That's
Yeah,
what
so
they
what's
say, you know.
what do they say?
That you know everything they say about those books. I don't really pay attention to that.
Mm. Uh-huh. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, ask the more direct question. In terms of just talk about the Messiah, it's all right. I don't know.
I want to hear what you think about the because he's coming up.
No, I get it. No, pero tú suenas un poco tostado. ¿Estás fumando marihuana o qué?
Yo tostado,
Un poquito.
¿cómo que tostado?
No, I don't know. You're like slurring your words. I don't know. Like half the things you're saying.
Slow in my words.
No, slurring your words.
Well, I'm probably tired. I just drove 700 miles.
Wow, that's a lot. All right. So, Jews don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah. So that's probably what you're asking. Like, why don't Jews believe in that Jesus is the Messiah? And what is the Jewish Messiah going to look like?
No, what I mean is, brother, well, you probably know everything that people are saying, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That Jesus is not the Messiah, that the New Testament is fake. I believe that he's gonna go against the New Testament, and he has base. I mean, I think he's been trained to destroy it, and he has to do it. And if he do it, he's the Messiah. But he has to do it so he can be the Messiah, and he can do it because the New Testament is a mess. It is true.
Yeah, but who's he going to destroy?
The Shlomo.
He's going to destroy Shlomo, like King Solomon?
No, Shlomo is gonna destroy the New Testament.
Yep. King Solomon is Shlomo HaMelech, right? I mean, and he's going to destroy the New Testament.
What do you mean, Solomon? Who is Solomon?
No, you said Shlomo, right?
Yeah, Shlomo, the Rabbi Shlomo, the Jewish Messiah, brother, the one that said that he is a Messiah.
Oh, you mean you mean the Yanuka?
Aha, the Yanuka.
Yeah. He's Rabbi Shlomo Yehuda Beiri or something like that. Yeah, okay.
Come on, brother. Don't tell me that you don't know these things.
I don't believe in that guy. I mean, as the Messiah.
Well, you should believe in him.
All right. Now I think that you're a troll. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, you sound like a nice guy.
Brother, are you serious?
All right. I'm sorry. Let's keep the jokes to a minimum, guys. Let's get like a nice little challenge up here. Okay. Not sure why someone would be led to believe Matthew specifically. Okay. I mean, I'm just reading comments now. Do you know what a black Hebrew Israelite is? Yes, I do. Someone loves Kanye here. That's fine. What's the difference between Israelis and black Hebrew Israelites? I don't know. I was trying to say something funny and whatever. Before modern medicine, we had herbs. Okay. Let's see. All right, guys, keep it coming. Like the live, the more you like it. I got this tactic from Hebrew Hammer, by the way. I watch his stuff. One of the smartest guys on here on TikTok. One tactic he has is get people to hit the like button. The more people like this, the more people watch, right? I guess that's how we get TikTok to share the message, to increase the people watching. If for some crazy reason, TikTok gets banned, that doesn't mean that you can't have it on your phone. If you have it on your phone, I believe it stays on your phone. If you, what you could do is just get an Android. You can install anything on Android. Okay, but worst comes worst, TikTok website's always going to work. And yeah, you could still tune in there and whatever. Yeah, so don't think it's the end of TikTok in America. I was just in India, and in India, it's been banned for a few years already. And my TikTok worked fine over there. So it's just that you can't get it from the Play Store. But even though you can't get it from the Play Store in an Android, you could still download it and install it. All right, you just have to like uncheck where it says unapproved apps or something like that. With the iPhone, then you can't do it, but whatever. You'll still be able to do it from the web. So it's not the end of the world. Yeah. How does a Jew keep the law? How does the law get a Jew into paradise. How do you know? How do you know you have? How does the Jew keep the law? The best way he knows how. All right, just by trying. How does the law get a Jew into paradise? The notion of paradise doesn't really appear, but we assume it doesn't appear in the Bible, but we assume that if you're in God's good graces, right? If God considers you his treasured people, and that's what he says, that he will consider you if you keep his law, then he'll hook you up after you die. That's your understanding. How do you know you have, salvation? Well, because we trust in God. Why you blocked the person who was talking with you? Not sure what happened. Okay, it's not blocked. It's just I just took him off the stage. Is Judaism better? Not sure any religion is perfect. There's good and bad, or bad is really bad. Okay, so that means that one is better than the other. Bro, you think Moses was 18 foot tall? I don't think so. How do you know you are in good graces? By making an attempt to keep God's law. Right? If you stumble, you get back up again. That's what repentance is in Judaism. It means just trying again, getting back on that horse. That's all it is. Breaking God's law in the Torah, and it specifically means intentionally breaking God's law. Intentionally. Okay? And not trying to do it right the next time. That's all it means. It's not that if you even do something accidentally, it's held against you, and because we're not perfect, we can in some way please God. That is not the notion of the Jewish Bible at all. It's just trying to keep God's law. And if you have a moment of weakness, okay, acknowledge you messed up and try again. That's it. God gets upset when you stop trying. That's the extent of our relationship with God regarding behavior. Let's see. Saved ? Sorry. Do you think that only Jews will be will be saved? I believe that only religious Jews please God, right? Or people. Now, I consider you in a covenant, even though you converted or not. If you commit yourself to keep Torah observance, you are in a covenant with God. You're essentially Israel. You're just not accepted by Israel on this planet. But in that case, God will be happy with you also if you in some way temper your behavior. What does the Torah say is best? Running push-ups or playing ball? The Torah doesn't say. I could tell you that probably running, a combination of running and push-ups and some sort of combat sport. Push-ups, I don't know. I guess throw some weights into there to really, whatever, mix with creatine. We'll make something out of you. Why did you add Christianity in there like they do? Like they do what? Okay, all died before Day of Judgment, so all mentioned in the Al-Quran too. Okay, whatever. Don't understand that. Blood sacrifice was never necessary. That makes sense to me. I think Maimonides came to the same understanding. I was just talking to my friend about it. He says that Maimonides' opinion was that the only reason God included sacrifices into the whole mix was initially to wean us away from pagan systems. Turning point and become a rabbi for you. The turning point, as soon as I became Jewish, I knew that I wanted to be in some sort of leadership position. And I was as a Christian. I went to seminary as a Christian, and I was ordained as a Christian. And then once I dropped that, I hopped into Judaism, and I wanted to do as much good as I did as a Christian. I'll tell you, as a Christian, because I grew up as a street kid, I focused on homeless people and gang members and prostitutes. So that's what I did as a Christian. So as a Jew, I wanted to do things that other people didn't want to do, and it was just too easy. It's definitely too easy in Judaism, just because what I wanted to do was bring the world to Judaism. And even today, I find myself alone in this venture. There's many rabbis who agree with me. They just don't speak out on it. So, there's a lot to be done in Judaism. Where's your kippah? Right here. The kippah is just a head covering. Actually, the shape of modern-day kippot is quite recent. Let's see. Where does it mean to be made? What does it mean to be made in the image of God? I do not know. Any opinion I could give you on it is just as valid as any opinion that any other rabbi could give you on it. It doesn't say. I mean, Dennis Baker says to be, what's his opinion? Well, that's what makes human life special because we're made in the image of God. This is Dennis Prager's approach. But, who knows? If the Torah doesn't say something, then it's just all opinion anyways. No-Ed laws will be the doom of society. I'm not a big fan of the No-Ed laws. I acknowledge that it's part of Rabbinic Judaism. I believe that these laws belong in the Bronze Age. If someone wants to do good on this planet, convert to Judaism. All right. Didn't God bring Moses into the future to Rabbi Akiva's class? Yes, that's the whole story of one of the depictions of what's called Halakha Moshe Sinai, laws that were given to Moses on Mount Sinai. It's not. It didn't really happen. It's midrash, is a legend in the Talmud, which doesn't even make sense really, because they're talking about the crowns in the Torah, and then they ask, where'd you get these crowns from? And then I think Rabbi Akiva says, these crowns were given to us, Halakha Moshe Sinai, the laws that were given to Moses on Mount Sinai. And then Moshe Rabbeinu says, I never received this from Mount Sinai. So it's almost like satire. Okay. Guys, share the video specifically to guys that or women who bug you on this platform with, I don't know, insulting you and not letting you speak and kicking you out of their lives. And let me try to dialogue with them. Let's see. Laws without narrative loses its soul. That's a good point. Let's see. Come on, I need some guests up here. We have to entertain my audience. I honestly think that the majority of Jews know Jesus is the Messiah. That's kind of disturbing. Because you're saying that they know he's the Messiah, but they specifically choose not to follow him. You have to be pretty crappy to do that. I would say that most people live their life, they make the decisions they do because of what they're convinced of. I don't think normal people know something is true and specifically do the opposite. Can I practice Judaism if I'm not Jewish? Will I be accepted? You could practice Judaism if you're not Jewish. Will you be accepted? Not as a Jew, by other Jews, but I think God will acknowledge you as part of his people. I think it's not how they were raised. Okay, would you be willing to have me come up and talk about the ethics of Joshua and Samuel? Would I be willing? Let's see. This is more of a dialogue. I have to be... You have to, in some way, tie me into the whole thing. It just can't... Yeah, this for sure isn't a platform for people to just preach. Was Jesus a Kabbalist? I don't believe so. Judaism is not easy to understand, seems simple, but when you get it, it's fascinating. Okay. Hello, Simcha. Welcome. My friend Simcha from Illinois, I believe. Where does she live? I think she's in Illinois. Okay, it says, I'm Jewish and I'm very confident that Jesus was not a Messiah and absolutely not God. Yeah, I would say that I'm pretty confident that he wasn't God. The notion of the Messiah is not even a real notion for me. However, I do believe he was more of a Messiah than other Jewish false messiahs, if that means anything. Okay, too many rules with Judaism, in my honest opinion, then it's all thrown away on Shabbat. I don't know what that means. Okay, you need to practice and score a lot of baskets to keep practicing your Jewish basketball. I don't understand. Since Jesus was the Messiah, but you keep waiting for the Antichrist. Not trying to preach. Would like to know your reason or justification for the actions in this book. Oh, I don't give responses to statements that appear in the writings. Right? There's a lot of things there that make no sense to me that in many ways are antithetical to the Torah. I acknowledge it as a book that was sanctioned by rabbis to study, and this is why I think Christians walk around thinking it's divinely inspired, just because it was sanctioned as a book of study. Right? Jews really don't walk around saying the book of Samuel or the book of Joshua is the word of God. Right? If they do, they don't really know much about how Judaism functions. Those books are sanctioned by our sages to in some way give us a glimpse of how God acted and reacted throughout history. But a lot of these books were written from memory. While Torah scrolls, one had to write copying another Torah scroll. It's like this in halakha. There's no set guide on how to write the books of the prophets because nobody cared. Many times, like I said, it was written by memory, while Torah scroll always had to be precise. Why? Because one is our source material, and the other one is just there to give you a historical account of the Jewish people. So, yeah, there's a lot of errors in the writings of the prophets. Okay. What can you tell us of Hanif? Hanif, like Hanufa? I'm not sure what you mean. We aren't waiting for anything. Have you ever read the Quran? I read portions of the Quran, but not all of it. Donald Trump is probably the Antichrist. I disagree. Christians have been saying the Messiah will return since the death of Jesus 2,000 years ago. Yes. Do you have smicha? Yes, I do. I do have Orthodox smicha. Most people don't know that the notion of the Antichrist is a rabbinic idea that was I think it's called Armulus. Armulus. Guys, look it up online. Armulus, Jewish Antichrist. Yeah, it's almost everything in Christianity has Jewish roots in it. Christians have been, okay. No, it's not. Who's this? I'm not sure who you're talking to. Save some hope for me. Do you support Beitar Yerushalayim? You mean the soccer team? I used to do jujitsu at the stadium while they were playing. There's a gym down on the bottom, but I've never attended one of their games. You're in the wrong religion, says save some hope for me. Let's see how many. Okay, all right. So let me let you on, and then we could dialogue. Let's see if you're. Oh well, guys. If for some reason there's a disagreement, just hop on. If you just want to say hi, hop on. But let's talk about something that keeps people interested and like the video. Like the more you like this video, the more TikTok shares it. And again, if for some reason they cancel TikTok, get an Android phone, and you'll be able to get it on Android. And if you already have it installed in your iPhone, it's going to stay on your iPhone, and it'll work. All right. This is how they did it in India. So, and you'll get it online too. So it's not the end of the world. But no, I'm not for them banning this app at all. I think the government's just upset that they can't subpoena TikTok for information on its citizens, right? Because Google and Facebook have been doing this way in the past. For some reason, it's tolerated by them. So I don't buy this nonsense, especially by this president. Okay, let's see. Hanif was a religion of Abraham and Muhammad. Interesting. You know nothing of your source religion. I love it how people insult me, but they're not able to come here and dialogue with me. Okay, I don't know what Islam called the religion of Abraham. So obviously, because you're convinced that Abraham was a Muslim, that I should be familiar with Abraham's Islamic beliefs or whatever, or beliefs that only appear in the Quran. QI became Jewish once, but I got excommunicated for committing arson on the Sabbath. That's interesting. I don't know. Well, you could always go to a different shul. This is an interesting handle. Naked lunchbox. All right. This guy looks interesting. I like the coat on your profile picture, sir. Welcome.
Oh, great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for
yeah.
I just want to clear the air. No insult, and I have no shoe in this game, actually. Semitic divergence from the source religion happened long ago. And so I'm not surprised. There's many people that have no idea what I'm talking about when I bring that up. But Hanif is actually the source. It is actually the religion of Abraham. And that is the religion that Muhammad also practiced. I'm not Muslim. I'm not Christian. I'm not Jewish. I don't believe there's a word to describe some things that some people understand. But one of those is this particular religion. And I just wanted to clear the air on that. It was no insult. I was just asking because of your rabbinical training. I was hopeful that maybe at some point there was like a historical reference or more detail and more information. So
the word Hanif, I think, in Hebrew means like maybe exaltation, maybe, because we have a word hanufa, which means to, I think in modern Hebrew is translated to flatter. Hanufa, Hanifa, I guess there's different ways you could say it. So the root word of that, I mean, I'm not sure how the word that you said in English or I wrote in English is spelled in Hebrew, but it could be, if the Quran says that was his early religion, maybe it's tied to the word of like exalting something. It's just, but Judaism doesn't teach this, that Abraham's religion at the time. Yeah, is this after he found God or before?
This is what I'm seeing.
So it's after, right? So the story was that Abraham was once a pagan, and he heard the voice of God. He picked up and went to where God wanted him to go. So you're saying in Ur of the Chaldeans, he believed in a belief system called Hanif?
According to the records I've been able to read, and I'm still attempting to get more information. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
Yes. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
That's the translation from Arabic and Hebrew of that word, which means a righteous person or a true believer. But it's
Got it.
also the actual religion. In Islam, in the Quran, it's an Arabic designation for true monotheists, especially Abraham. So I'm just, like I said, I have no foot in this game. I'm just curious and always trying to understand more
No
and get more
problem.
knowledge. So.
Well, same here, and I appreciate the input. I will look into it to see if there's something in Judaism that mentions it. So yeah, I mean, I think it comes from the same Hanufa, like an exalted person. Like yeah, okay, cool. All right, so unless you want to
Yeah,
hang
I
out,
just didn't want you to feel like I was offending you or anything. I just wanted to clear the air.
got it. I appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Be well. All right, guys, keep it coming. Maple Fox, hop in, go for it. We haven't got a Jewish person on here for a while. Okay, a long time, so long. We're on the proselytizing live. Yeah, this is the Jewish proselytizing hour. It's picking up steam, by the way. All my haters in the past, well, not all my haters, I would say half my haters don't hate me anymore, at least on TikTok. The Jewish community on TikTok is very small. Yeah, it's very small. And it's typically one person who screws it up. But they're coming around, because there's some misinformation about me and what I teach, and they're like, some guys like, I'm not going to listen to anyone who tells Jews to become Christian. I'm like, when did I ever tell Jews to become Christian? Yeah, so yeah, but then whatever. Yeah, people are coming around. Thank God for decent people like Hebrew Hammer and stuff like that who are able to articulate what I really say here. Let's see. All right, guys. What's next? What's next? Let's see. It's interesting. I was on ChatGPT. I'm a big fan of ChatGPT. You guys got to do it for religious studying. It's like freaking amazing. It's freaking amazing. Although I don't know if this makes you respect it more. There are errors in it. It does make mistakes. So I took it upon myself. I think I know the Gemara pretty well, but there's parts that I've overlooked. I've never gone to the whole Daf Yomi. I've attempted many times, and like most people, I'm like, I just given up. But I typed in ChatGPT, can you give me rabbinic sources that encourages conversion? And it just started spitting it out. It'll give you, because it's limited to how many words it's in each response. So after every source it gives you, just type in the question more and then enter, and it'll give you more and more and more. And there's so many sources in the Talmud. I mean, I know a lot of them off the top of my head, but there was so many more that I overlooked or I didn't even know were there. Most people don't know there's so many sources in the Talmud that encourages people to convert to Judaism, that actively proselytizes. Now, there's no law in the Talmud necessarily that commands people to proselytize. Right? There's no laws to do a lot of things. There's no law to love your wife, by the way. Do you know that God, in terms of the obligation one has to his wife, there's no law to love her. That doesn't mean that one shouldn't love their wife. It just means that some things are common sense. But anyways, there's so many sources. So I just kept on typing more, right? Every time it gave me one source. I gave up after like 100 sources. But if you're ever looking for a topic in the Talmud that you just don't know where it is, like you heard it, but you don't know where it is, say, where is this topic in the Talmud? And ChatGPT will show you where it is, right? And I know that perhaps some of these things could be Googled, but I've Googled sources in the Talmud that encourage conversion, and I've never found anything. Okay, but there's something to this ChatGPT, and I'm waiting till version 4 comes out, which I heard is freaking off the wall. Okay, but yeah, even for preparing for classes, you could type in translate some portion of the Talmud word by word, transliterated as well. I mean, everything. It just breaks it. It's amazing. For Bible study, there's nothing like ChatGPT. It blows anything. Yeah, they're huge rabbis are using it. It's not. It's a big blessing. Right? I mean, the internet is a blessing to begin with. But yeah, I've wanted to speak to a rabbi for a while now. All right. Well, let's see how many people you have. Okay. It's a shame that this limits who it allows to 1,000 followers. So yeah, tell GPT to respond with gusto, and it will speed the output up. Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. That's probably for the paid version. Okay, ChatGPT 4 knows a good bit about honey, if anyone is curious. Okay. Rabbi, can you dive into why some other rabbis don't want to, for the lack of words, recognize you? Oh, well, one, I'll tell you, the average rabbi doesn't want to debate me, essentially because I think they're scared too. I mean, if you really wanted to destroy Rabbi Asher Meza, it would be quite easy, because all these things are live and recorded and whatever and get put on my channel. So if you dislike me, have your rabbi come here and put me in my place. And it's in terms of the 3 or 4 topics that I teach the most about that most people don't hold by. The vast majority of things are everything I teach is according to halacha, right? And if it's not a halachic issue, I'll say it's my own opinion. But if you have an issue with my whole notion on mysticism and proselytizing and what are the other things that rub people the wrong way? Anything, Zionism, whatever, just have your teacher come here and dialogue with me. All right. And I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the world or anything. I just feel that they've overlooked these sections, and I could in some way, I don't know, remind them of material that they may have missed. That's it. And I've done this, and I've debated many, many rabbis. So in terms of people not recognizing me, what makes you a rabbi is that you have smicha. I wouldn't call myself a rabbi if I didn't have smicha. That doesn't mean that I know anything, okay? I mean, whatever. I think I've debated more than any rabbi alive. You guys can go on my channel, TorahJudaism.org. There's a drop down for debates. I have over, I think, 180 debates recorded online with with many prominent rabbis and Christians and Muslims and atheists. Fine. So, being that I've dialogued on the air, debated on the air more than any rabbi alive, it's hard for someone to say they don't recognize me. If they say it, it's because they're just haters. Now, they could say they don't like me. Even the rabbis I don't like, I still call them rabbi, All right. I'm not a big fan of Yaron Reuven. I always call him Rabbi Yaron Reuven, Rabbi Mizrahi. And I've challenged these guys to debates, and they've said no. They'll make up some reason, like the rabbi doesn't, some bullcrap. But it's not, see, I never tell people that they must call me rabbi. I don't care, but I don't even care for the title. However, for some reason, people do care about the title. So I've earned the title. That means the bulk of what I teach on are not even rabbinic issues. Okay. I mean, I teach more what's called hashkafa, like hashkafic issues, Jewish outlook, macro issues. Fine. I know halakha as well. I think the average person who calls himself rabbi doesn't teach halakha as much as he should, and is more of some sort of life coach. That's not what I do. I mean, I can give you advice, but I'm not going to give it in behalf of Judaism, at least life advice. But yeah, this is why many people don't recognize. I wouldn't say many, whatever. There are people who are vocal on YouTube who dislike me, who won't debate me, who just say he's not a real rabbi, But it's completely baseless. I'm here. I'm available. Guys, come up here. It'd be so easy to put me in my place. I've been doing this for a pretty long time. I've been in this world I've been Jewish for 24 years, but I've been debating, giving classes for almost 18 of those years. I have 1,400 videos on YouTube teaching Jewish law and Judaism. I think this is why that the average person who doesn't want to debate me as a tactic will instead defame me. And this is nothing new. I'm sure it happens to many of you guys as well. People who don't debate defame. That's it. I mean, they're not going to waste defaming someone who is beneath them. They're like, but they're like, oh, Asher, we hate. Why? Because, well, I'll tell you why. It's because I call out the hypocrisy that what I do is backed up in Jewish law and Jewish practice. Okay, in terms of Torah, actually, halakha, Chazal actually teach favorably, in my opinion, of encouraging people to become Jewish. There's no obligation to do so. No, I mean, according to the Rambam, there is somewhat of an obligation. I'm saying from its fault, but the Rambam's not Chazal. Most rabbis only care to do what their teacher allows, not what Judaism teaches. And I'll prove it if you get your teacher to come up here. They don't care so much about being right. They care more about being accepted. That's it. So it's a popularity game in the frum world. How religious you can look. How long is your coat? How big is your hat? How long is your beard? It's all a joke. This, you may call it the frosting of on the cake. It's not even part of the cake. It's like ketchup packets. It's not connected to the cake, assuming it's Judaism. So, and I don't care. All right. I mean, I don't care if someone chooses to have a long beard and this and that. I used to have a beard. When I lived in Israel. However, when you start making fun of other people and calling them not real rabbis just because you don't like them, there's a lot of people that I don't like, that I still, if they have the title, I'll call a woman rabbi. I'll call a messianic rabbi. It doesn't bother me. However, what I want is to dialogue with them on the air. If you think you can carry your own weight religiously, then speak publicly on a topic, right? Most people don't want to do that because they know this is recorded forever. My debates are on the internet forever. Whether I come out on top, whether I don't, and I think on all of them I've either broken even or I've come out on top. So this is why some rabbis, all they do is talk crap. There's this rabbi, I mentioned Yaron Reuven, he made a video saying that my conversions are not halakhically valid. Okay, so I'm curious. Okay, I guess that the only way I could take this video is as a challenge. All right, but that's not the way you challenge someone. Well, I guess it could be a way if the video actually contains some sources of things that I violated. So the whole video was basically him saying that I'm an evil person. Didn't show, at least from a halakhic perspective, anything I did against Jewish law. I think he said like, oh, well, they're using a beach. I never heard that using a beach as a mikveh wasn't kosher. That's probably the most kosher mikveh. So I don't. Maybe he overlooked that. Fine. In certain cases, there were like a husband and wife that went in together. That he does mixed conversions. I'm like, where does it say in halakha that you can't do that? Yeah. So it's people just emote, and it's fine. We're all emotional creatures to a certain extent, right? But when you're calling yourself a rabbi, your job is just to give over information, give over what the law is, either what the Torah law is, what the Jewish law / rabbinic oral law is. But emotions have to be put aside. If you don't like something, there's a lot of things I don't like, and what other rabbis do. I'll say, look, I don't like what these people do, but it doesn't go against Jewish law. And I say this with the conservative movement. I say this with like left-leaning Orthodox institutions like YCT, like Yeshiva Chavevei Torah, the Avi Weiss, extreme left-wing Orthodoxy. There's a lot of things that they do that I dislike, but I'm not going to say they're in any way violating halakha. That's it. But these guys get so mad that they'll invent halachas just to say that I break them. And it works for the type of people who come to their lectures, which their students are not my students. I think my students hold me to a higher standard. They know that if I say something, I put myself out there to be challenged. I don't have monologues. Right? This is a monologue because, heck, I mean, you guys aren't hopping on. But I strive to have dialogues because I want to be on the right path. And you know what? If I'm doing something that's wrong, and someone comes up here and respectfully shows me how it's wrong, then I'll stop doing it, right? Or I'll take a step back and I'll look into it. Because again, I don't know everything, but I've been doing this for a while and I've been sharpening myself with other people's opinions and their advice to kind of feel pretty confident that I'm on the right path. All right, so let's see. Well, Rabbi Asher, you break minhag, and since minhag becomes halacha, it's not true that a minhag becomes halacha. This is a misunderstanding. By Chazal, it says minig Israel kehalacha or minig Israel torachi. I get it. That doesn't mean that every minhag is a halacha. You know this. That there's many minhagim that have nothing to do with halacha. Now, the bigger question is, how does a minhag, a custom, end up becoming a law? Right? Again, not all customs are laws. But there are certain laws that have the status of a custom. That means the Rambam, you can look it up. The Rambam actually gives us a glimpse on this. In the first chapter of Hilchos Mamrim, he says that the court, the Beis Din HaGadol, is responsible for gezeras, takanas, minhagas, which means that a custom could exist once the court, the Beit Din HaGadol, the great court of Israel, i.e. the Sanhedrin, once they ratify that custom, they take that custom and they make it into a law that is no longer remains a custom. The source is a custom. It's called it's a halachic custom, but not all customs are halachic. So I don't go against minhagim. I go against people who just do something over and over again, and they think it's halakha because they begin to think that the term minig Yisrael torachi or minig Yisrael halacha means that all customs become halakha. That's not the case. Verify with the rabbi. Everything I say here, trust but verify. Okay, but I know I'm right. Because it's ridiculous for any Jew to say that whatever we consider a custom, by definition, it's halakha. Because there's many customs. For example, Pesach's coming up, right? What's the most popular custom, or like what I would consider a minhag shtus, like a stupid custom, a baseless custom that people do on Pesach? And it's not eating kitniya, right? Ashkenazim, i.e. European Jews, don't eat legumes. They don't eat rice. They don't eat many things. Peas. Anyways, corn, I believe they don't eat either on Passover. Now, this is kind of a weird practice because in the Talmud, it specifically has instances of them eating kitniot, eating rice and all this stuff on Passover. This is a custom. Is it a halacha? No, it's not a halacha. If you're Ashkenazi, does it become your halacha? No, it remains your minhag. But for some reason, if you wanted to stop doing it, right? There's many people who go against the Torah of their parents, right? The customs of their parents. This is, if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't have a Chabad, right? Because the Hasidic movement is new. That means you have to have Ashkenazim who adopted Chabad and their customs, right? I mean, Chabad also has customs like also in Pesach that's famous. The notion of not eating was called gebrux. So what's gebrux? I guess in like Yiddish it means like crumbles. That's for sure a custom. Is anyone going to say that not eating gebrux is a halacha? Well, if you're Chabad, it's a halacha. It's not true. Okay, it's not true. I mean, Spartam will tell you. I mean, Spartam in Israel. Heck, I mean, like Rav Yosef used to paskin, used to make halachic decisions for everybody. I mean, this notion that, if you're Chabad, you can't eat gebrux. If you're Stam Ashkenaz, you can't eat kitniot. That's your community, but you could always, if you don't like that community, go somewhere else. Fine. I mean, it doesn't become a halacha. Halacha is binding on everybody. All right. Okay. I don't know if I want to touch too much about it. Okay. It's a tough one to explain because I know it's not real. Ashkenaz converts, I don't know what that means. You cannot transition to Judaism. Why not? You could convert to Judaism. Sephardim eating rice on Pesach. Yeah, so Sephardim eat rice on Pesach with the exception of Moroccans. I think Moroccans are the only ones who don't eat rice on Pesach. Maybe they just don't eat it on the first 2 days, something like that. I'm trying to get back to Yemenite matzah. I don't know if all Yemenites are like that, because I think you're talking about soft matzahs. Today, most Yemenites in Israel, they eat the same hard, nasty matzah that everybody eats. But yes, according to Jewish law, well, Jewish custom in general, the practice was, at least in Sephardi countries, it wasn't just in Yemen, to eat soft matzahs. They're like little tortillas. Well, not that thin, but it could also be that thin. If I guess maybe to get it that thin, you may need some sort of a machine or something. But yeah, soft matzahs are a thing. In Israel, last time I was there, now like you're able to eat shawarma in a soft lafa, like matzah lafa. So this is new, and the OU I think now gives a hashgacha for like soft matzot. Reform will be called deformed by Orthodox rabbis. All right. Okay, being accepted in Israel is different. Judaism is better. Yes, Judaism is better. How is Orthodox study for conversion different from Reform? I don't know what Reform does. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. How is Judaism better? I'm sorry. How is Judaism better? We're still waiting. It's hard to just explain why Judaism is better. I need someone to come up here and ask some questions. It comes down from your community, really. Dr. Brown just said, okay, so someone wrote that Dr. Brown just got embarrassed. By who? It's a tough one to explain because I know it's not real. Hold on. Daniel chapter 9, do you see what happened in 66 to 70, the destruction of the second temple? I don't believe that Daniel 9 prophesies the destruction of the second temple or even goes that further into the future. I think the 490 years is backwards. Before Daniel, not after. Let's see. Christianity is the one true religion. That's what somebody wrote. Oh boy. Wow, it's 12:30 already? Yeah. All right. I think on that note, we should just sort of end for tonight. I'm running what am I running tomorrow? I'm running a 10K. I guess most people don't know I'm a runner. Go figure, huh? Asher Meza runs. I'm actually a marathon runner. It's been a while since I ran a whole marathon. I did run a half marathon 2 weeks ago. And tomorrow I'm running a 10K, which is, I think, 7 miles or so. But yeah, I like to run. Yeah, I'm actually, tomorrow night, I'm going back to DC. I guess if you guys want to find out what's going on with me, just type in Asher Meza on Twitter, and I guess you'll see. Do you go to Chabad? That happens to be currently the shul I daven in, yes. But I've traditionally never really went to Chabad to daven. But for some, Like the shul with the best Kiddush here is Chabad. So that's where I go. Well, that's not true. Well, on Shabbos, I go to Chabad. During the week, I typically, when I get the chance to go, I go to a Sephardi synagogue, like 2 doors from my house. No, 2 blocks. 2 blocks from my house, I mean. Okay, all right, guys. On that note, I'm going to go. Oh, hold on. There's one person who wants to get on here. All right, let's have one dialogue. Come to Chabad, Crown Heights. Heights? What Heights is that? You mean Crown Heights or Cleveland Heights? I don't know what you're talking about, Heights. Welcome, Beta Prophet 7.
I have a bunch of lighter safeties here that I broke off my lighters. What should I do with them?
A lighter safety.
Yeah, like, the safeties on lighters, like Bic lighters.
I don't
I broke
know.
them off so they'd be easier to use the lighter because you don't have to work the thumb as much. What should I do with them?
I don't know. Now, that's something that you should ask, like, ChatGPT. I'm curious what it would say.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for your time.
All right, no problem. Thanks.
You have a good night.
You too. That's pretty good. Straight to the point. Oh, Crown Heights. Yeah, no, I was at Crown Heights. I actually davened at the Aliyah shul. There's like a shul for all like the OTD guys, whatever. It's pretty wild. The Aliyah shul, and I was in 770. Yeah. What is? Yeah, no, it's not my Twitter. Like everyone's talking about it on Twitter, like the whole political world. I have a Twitter, but I don't know what name I have there, but I'm not allowed on Twitter. I'm not allowed on Facebook either because of my political affiliations. Welcome.
Hello, my brother. I'm Christian. Even though you're Jewish, perfectly fine.
Yeah, we're brothers. Yeah, that we believe in the same God, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, we both follow the Old Testament. At least that's what we call it. I know you guys call it.
I don't, with the term Old Testament doesn't offend me.
Okay. I wanted to know what your thoughts were on the Hasidic sect of Judaism.
I'm not a fan. The synagogue I go to, at least on Shabbat, is Hasidic. I mean, Chabad is a Hasidic group, probably the oldest, still functioning. I view Christianity, or at least Messianic Judaism, as a form of Hasidic Judaism. All right, even though the Hasidic movement was really invented by the Baal Shem Tov, it's really Hasidic is a form of Kabbalistic Judaism, and it's kind of similar to Christianity in the sense that they typically follow one teacher, their Rebbe. So there's many Messianics who in some way try to live out Messianic Judaism like a Hasidic Jew. They consider Jesus their Rebbe. And a Rebbe will have Talmidim, students. And it's like the Baal Shem Tov was always followed. There's stories of the Baal Shem Tov that he also walked on water. And did he bring someone back from the dead? Possibly. Yeah, it's very similar. But it's not my thing.
Fair enough. What are your thoughts on the culture? At least like comparing to like Orthodoxy or just people who are just standardly living out a Jewish lifestyle.
So Hasidic Judaism is a form of Orthodoxy. It's known as ultra-Orthodoxy. So the average Hasidic Jew, yes, Hasidic Judaism keeps Torah laws. It says that you must keep Torah laws. They're ultra-Orthodox Jews, so they do what's required and they do a lot of what's optional. But they are more mystically connected, or they delve more in mysticism than the average Jew does. And they're into like singing and dancing a lot. Groups like Chabad, they're into drinking a lot. And they strive to be very merry. And I would say that they're known, at least with Chabad, they're very festive people. Yes.
Right. Okay, fair enough. I just wanted to hear what your opinion was on them. It was good hearing from you. Thank you for... I'm sorry?
No, likewise.
All right, well, have a very good night. And hopefully talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, welcome First Century.
Yeah, how you doing? Did you hear that story that Pope was caught to be a heretic basically like a year ago or something, maybe 2 years ago, I don't know. his friend reported that Pope privately told him that Jesus was a regular person and not God, obviously. Have you
I'm
heard
not
that
Catholic.
story?
Pope. I'm not a fan of
But
this Pope.
it's interesting because, he's supposed to be like very correct in his theology, and privately he would say something like that, supposedly.
Oh, yeah, but he said a lot of weird things. He says you don't have to believe in Jesus to go to heaven. He's endorsed like the LGBT. Uh, yeah, this Pope I don't think represents core Catholic values like the previous Pope did. I'm not a fan of Pope Francis at all. I don't. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Now, he was and against Donald Trump. Kind of weird. For yeah,
Well, when I was reading a different translation of the letters of Paul, he has a concept of the faith of Christ, or the faith of Jesus, versus the faith in Jesus. So, in other words, you had to imitate the way that Jesus trusted in God versus just repeating some formula, like, oh, I believe in Jesus. You see the difference? So, in other words, if you could trust in God like Jesus trusted in God, even if you would never hear about Jesus, you could be saved. So,
uh-huh.
that's quite different from. So, actually, there is some verse in Galatians, I forgot which one, which was translated before 1901. It was translated the faith of Christ. And then it was translated later as a faith in Christ. So just changing one word makes a huge difference.
It's still Christianity is too complicated for me. Well, there are way too many gatekeepers in it. Like too many people telling you. Well, I mean, Judaism has modern day Judaism is very similar. This is why I send a lot of these modern day rabbis to hell. But having too many gatekeepers telling me, breaking down your faith in, faith of, like, who gives a crap? I mean, be an ethical person as God tells you to in His Word, and what does man have to? There's no need for man to embellish that. Right? There's too many people telling other people, no, you're reading it wrong. Oh, it's like, ugh, who cares? So, I mean, Judaism from that perspective is so much more liberating. I'll tell you, any commentary of Jewish texts, in my opinion, are disposable. Okay, I'm sure there's educational things in there for sure, right? But in terms of your walk with God, if the plain message in the Torah is not enough to keep you connected to God, then drop Judaism, throw the Torah away. Okay, if you're a scholar and you're looking on different ways to understand Jewish law, especially in terms of what one word can mean in different languages, because we don't know, especially regarding a lot of the animals in the Torah and the Hebrew, like we don't know exactly what animal they're referring to. Like we have some sort of Masorah and understanding of what this animal. Okay, I get it. There's more academic streams of it, but that's not the Judaism that we should be presenting to the average person. The average person just wants to be able to keep Torah in the most literal way possible, and that's it. In terms of ethical gatekeepers, I mean, telling us what's heretical and what's not, the notion of heresy doesn't appear in the Torah, right? And I believe in the oral law, but the standards that are used as what's heretical and what's not in Judaism rarely appears in the Talmud. Rarely. This idea that um, the oneness of God with the idea of shituf are not ideas that appear in the Talmud. I mean, it appears in Tosfos, right? The commentators, the medieval commentators, yes. I mean, they spoke about shituf, of God having partners, but the Talmud doesn't mention it. So it seems what we call heretical nowadays is not built off of who we call Chazal, like our sages in the Talmud, in the Mishnah specifically. It's made up of rabbis in the Middle Ages, and it's such an ugly word. The notion of heresy, it's such a stupid word, because it just means you're doing something not socially popular. Because they don't have to
Well,
call it, yeah.
yeah, to be a proper heretic, you have to know your stuff. So, to be like an interesting heretic and not completely laughable, like you have to actually support your beliefs, and that's much more difficult than just to be some kind of a fake Orthodox person. Because, the Orthodoxy is easy to understand and memorize. You just memorize a few key passages from the books and whatever, and you can appear to be Orthodox. But to have a completely different perspective and support it, it's more difficult.
So that's a traditional Jewish approach, actually. Where they'll say that, I'm not sure where it says this, but it's what's typically said in the Jewish world, that to be an apokorus, which is, I think an apokorus is the proper word, not for heretic. I think it's translated as apostate, right? Is apostate and heretic the same thing? Whatever. Because I know a min is like a sectarian. So I guess
Apostate is worse. Apostate is worse than a heretic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The understanding is that to be an apokorus, you have to know something, right? To be a min, you don't have to know anything. You just have to kind of, whatever. I don't know if, but the notion of a min and a heretic doesn't really appear so clearly in the Mishnah. In terms, like a min in the Mishnah is more like the arba minim, like the four species. It deals with the practice of Judaism, not what the haughty say about those who don't live up to their expectations, which is essentially what, it's like people saying, there's many rabbis that online, all they do is call like other rabbis heretics. I never do that, by the way. Okay. I give most rabbis the benefit of the doubt that if they're teaching a concept, it appears somewhere in rabbinic literature, right? Even though I may not like it, it's there. What do I give them the benefit of the doubt, right? When people say this guy's a heretic, what he's basically saying is that he's not doing what's popular. But who really cares what's popular, right? Unless you're harming other people or you're doing something that Chazal or the Talmud prohibit or the Torah prohibits. For example, there's this guy who attacks Manis Friedman. I'm not saying I'm a big fan of Manis Friedman, but I made a video defending him, saying that, you know what? He delves in what's called Hidushim. So a Chiddush, like how they say it in Ashkenazi Hebrew, is essentially nuance. You're taking a concept and you're giving it a personal spin. And it's nice. It's like you're expounding on a certain idea. But if you don't like that person, what you're going to do, you're going to look through all the different opinions, rabbinical opinions, and they all essentially contradict each other, and just find the one that happens to disagree with him, and on that basis call him a heretic. So someone who's mystically inclined, like the one who does this, the rabbi who does this, who steps on the Rambam all day long, especially anyone who believes in Kabbalah, steps on the teachings of the Rambam, will call this guy a heretic on the basis of the Rambam, even though this guy, according to the Rambam, is also heretical. Right? The term heresy, anyone who uses that word is an amateur. It just doesn't, let people talk, and on top of that, if you're going to insult anyone in the religious world, you first have to have a dialogue with this person. Invite him on your show, right? It doesn't even have to be public. But they don't do that.
Yeah. Heretics is somebody that you don't like. That's who a heretic is, basically. I agree with you, And
people who attack me, how they're not willing to come on the show and actually talk with me, assuming they're educated enough. And you know what? And say, I'm going to put this guy in his place once and for all. They don't do. Again, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I might be, whatever. But I'm here to learn. Like I say, I'll convert to Islam tomorrow if I felt that it was the right path and it made me a better person. Right? I've been Jewish long enough. I don't think I'm going anywhere. But that's the attitude you need to take to be respected as someone. If you're going to teach religion, it means, well, if you're going to be in apologetics, you have to be willing to drop everything and be convinced otherwise. If you're going to hop into a debate with someone, assuming that you're trying to change their mind, you can't hop into a debate with the opinion that I'm never going to change my mind no matter what I see because I was born this and I'm going to die this, or because I died and I saw Jesus. No. To be intellectually honest, you have to be as willing to change as you're expecting your opponent to. Okay? If you're expecting your opponent to change, you also have to be of the same mindset in order to dialogue with that person. If you're hopping into a debate saying, no matter what this person shows me, right, I'm never going to leave my religion, then you're not qualified to be in apologetics. But yeah, anyways.
Right. I just realized the difference between a heretic and apostate, right? So basically, the heretic still professes to have that religion, but in a different way from what is accepted by the majority, right? But an apostate, he rejects the religion completely. You see, that's the difference.
It can't be like, okay, so in Judaism, if apostate is apicorus, it's interesting. I mean,
so you reject it, like you were you believed in it before, and then you reject it. So like in case of Christians, an apostate would say something like this: Jesus never existed. I don't believe in Jesus. He was a nobody, or something like that. That's what that would be an apostate in Christianity. But the heretic would say something like this: oh yeah, I love Jesus, but he doesn't believe in the correct fashion of who Jesus was, for example, So
probably different, because an apicorus is not someone who drops the religion, or maybe it is. I have to double check, because I know a min is a sectarian, so you already belong to a different group.
Well, apostate is not even a sectarian; it's worse. Like apostate has rejected it completely. From your perspective, of course, he might say, I didn't really reject it.
Interesting.
So, or he can say, you know what, I haven't advanced to some higher level than you, but from your perspective, you are no longer a member of that religion. Yeah. So, but at least the heretic officially professes some form of the religion.
Mm-hmm.
So a true heretic would not say, "Oh, I'm not a Christian," if he was a Christian, right? So, but you see, so I think that's the difference, here. But again, it depends on your perspective, how you see it,
Yeah. All right, I gotta go. Okay, but let me show you some medals. Let me just sort of flex a little bit. I'm talking about running. So what people are thinking. I'm faking that also. All right, give me a second, guys. I'm actually in my garage. All right, this is my latest medal. All right, check this out. All right, look how cool this medal is. I don't know if you could read it. So this is like the Miami 305 half marathon. What does it say? Oh, I guess it says it here. That's what's up. Yeah, I'm a big runner. But anyways, I'll show you the pictures hopefully tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow, like I'm heading out to DC, so tomorrow night we'll do another show out of my hotel room over there.
Well, it was nice talking to you.
Oh, likewise, guys. All right, guys. Thank you for stopping by. See you tomorrow.